Well, hello. Tony Talks podcast. We back. 2022. We getting started. I got two of my close coaching buddies, friends. We got BC Collins, my boy, and Mike Carrington. They coach together at a school here in Oklahoma, OCA.
Yes, sir.
Oklahoma Christian Academy.
Lady Eagles.
Yes, sir.
NELES, baby.
And
Yes, sir.
y'all took over 2 years ago.
Last year. Last year was our first year.
Okay. First year was how's first year for y'all?
Tough because we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Right. Y'all miss any games?
Yeah,
we missed some.
But the first, I think, 4 or 5 games were rescheduled.
People
Really?
canceled, and then when we had our little mishap, then we had to miss like 3. But luckily, it was right before the break.
Yeah.
Um,
And we didn't miss any.
but man, that's that 6A.
No, we're one of the only teams that didn't miss any games.
Really?
Like the whole year. That's serious.
Yeah, man.
We was lucky.
It was scary, but I will say this, though. We still got to play, I think, 24 games, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Y'all make a run at it?
yeah, man, we're 1 game away from state.
Man, that's
One game, man.
First year there.
bro. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. So how was it before when y'all took it over? Were they bad before y'all took it over?
Nah, so the thing is, man, they've always had talent at their school.
Okay.
It's just such a small school. They'll go from 2A to Class A, just depends on the year. But when we got there, that's one thing I told him is I was actually working an event for him, and it was a girls' event. And I had an interview, and I told him, I was like, hey, man, it's not guaranteed that I'm going to get this job, but if I do, I need you.
That's fact.
And I said, I need you, man. And he was like, I'm there. He's like, just keep me posted. I'm there. And I was like, oh man, bet. So I ended up getting a job, and I ended up getting some film from their year before and previous years. And I'm like, oh man, like we're good.
Yeah.
Like they just need some things, fine tuned. But the previous coach there, he did a really good job. And then there was another coach before him. He also did a really good job. So. It wasn't a rebuilding process at all.
No, really.
We just kind of had to fine
What
tune
we
some
understood
things.
is they've always been pretty decent on the girls' side in basketball. It's just coming from 5A, you don't know anything about those smaller schools until you get in there. And like you said, when he shared that video, I said, okay, all right.
We got something.
We'll go hoop for the Lord then.
Yeah, it's facts. Well, before we hop into that, we're gonna really talk about how we met. How long ago it's been. You went to Santa Fe,
Yes, sir.
graduated
2010.
2010. Mike's a little older than us.
Man, I'm old, guys. I started at Westmore, and then I went to Norman, graduated in 2002.
Okay.
So all the legends that you know in Norman, that was, we know. We know.
A lot of legends.
Yeah, I graduated in 12 from Westmore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we right there. And Mike, 02, I was in elementary.
Hey, man, y'all was coming to our camps.
That's right. And then everybody got into boys coaching I got it right out of high school. So you went to college.
Yeah.
You went to school too.
Yeah, I went to school, and right after that, just realized that what I was majoring in is not for me.
Really?
Did not want to do it the rest of my life, and I always wanted to coach. So I ended up getting a TA job at Santa Fe.
Okay.
Coach Lenny Hatchett was there at the time.
Shout out to Lenny, man.
Absolutely.
That's the GOAT.
Yeah.
And his coaching staff is the GOAT.
There's some champs in that bad boy.
Hey, man, so
Oklahoma, that's the Oklahoma Rushmore. Good grief.
And so, long story short, I just reached out to him. I was like, hey, man, I'm an alum here. I would love to help out in any way that I can. And he had a full staff. But the thing is that makes him such a legend is he was like, man, I don't have a spot for you technically, but I would love for you to be a part. And he's like, I can't pay you, but he definitely took care of me throughout the whole year.
That's dope.
The whole year. So anytime we did a camp, gave me some extra. Or anytime, we had opportunity, he just gave me his. So he definitely took care of me. And then after that, long story short, he gave me, ended up creating a position for me. And then after that, I was on staff. So shout out to Coach Hatchett.
You say you was with them for 7 years? Or no?
No. I was there for 2 years.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
And then you went to McGinnis?
No, I went to Deer Creek Middle School for 2 years.
I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, he was an antler.
Yeah, I remember he would put on Twitter talking about Deer Creek this and that.
Yeah, man. I was at Deer Creek Middle School for 2 years.
How was that, bro? How was that?
Different, but it gave me a chance to kind of do my own thing and kind of be in charge of my own teams.
Yeah.
And actually, I did boys and girls while I was there. That's what people don't realize.
Oh, okay.
So that's when I kind of first dabbled into girls, and I really enjoyed it. And so I did that for 2 years. And then I connected with Coach Raper at McGinnis. And then I was there 3 years, and then now I'm here at OCA.
Yeah, top dog, OCA.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
That's crazy, man.
Yes, sir.
Mike, where to start? Where to start for you?
Man, so let's see here. So, I started with AAU ball.
Yeah.
So when I was in college, kind of started on the boys' side with AAU. I actually didn't get my first coaching job as far as like official until I started coaching girls. Coach Rhonda Fields, she was at Moore High School.
Oh, yeah.
And she I don't know how we linked up. I don't even remember, but I think I was in Crest, and I was like, she came up to me, and I think Coach Oliver knew who I was. That was her assistant, and she came up to me, and we kind of talked, and I did the whole interview, and she put me over there at the junior high. So I was over there at Central, and if anybody knows anything about Central, they weren't good at all.
They never are.
And I turned it around, and after that, when Coach Fields left, Hodges came in, stayed there for one more year, and then I moved on. And then McGinnis, somehow I reached out to Coach Ritchie because he was new. They were changing the whole program. Like it was Coach Ritchie coming in from OSU. So I was like, this has got to be mine. This has got to be me. I got to get on there.
Okay.
Coach Ritchie came through, gave me the opportunity. So I was able to learn from an OSU coach and all his, connections and things like that. And McGinnis, and man, our first year at McGinnis, we was horrible.
Really?
I don't know if it's just because they weren't used to basketball, but man, we were so bad, but we was only one game away from state.
Wow.
And it was crazy because we were the only team that made it as far with the losing record. And so I was like, okay, and I'm not used to losing very much. So then that humbled me. So then I stayed there for a few years at McGinnis, and we started turning the program around, stayed there basically with the group of freshmen we had all the way through. And then BC got the call to be at OCA, and I said, yeah, it's time to make a change.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
And
I tell Hodges, we've been boys a long time, like, that's a duo that no matter if it's boys or girls, bro, they're going to be successful. Because I know they care about the players like I care about the players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing about, especially when you start as an assistant,
Man.
me, like I have no desire to be a head coach anymore. I coach freshman, I coach JV. I never got fulfilled with those two like I did with being the varsity head assistant.
Right.
And it's only because as an assistant, I can put in different time than the head. We
Right.
can be in the
Yes.
gym a little bit
Yes.
more. We can have different conversations. They're gonna kind of reach out to me for certain things that they wouldn't for him.
Right.
So on and so forth. But it's for you guys probably the same for me. Coaching's my biggest blessing in my life. I don't have kids yet, so
coaching actually saved me. I mean, my daughter, Jay, she saved me when she was born, but I grew up. Like, she made me grow up and mature.
Yeah.
And then when I got to coaching, like, basketball, like the way I want to coach it and learn, and I started seeing people, like, actually investing in me, wanting me to be successful, it saved my life. I mean, because I could have been in and out of the streets, whatever, because it's so easy to get in trouble. So it just gave me the opportunity.
And I think for me, man, it's, being so young, coaching at Santa Fe, man, I was 2 or 3 years older than the kids.
Right.
And so, all those guys, they call me BC, and they didn't mean any disrespect by it, but I was like, man, I want to, I want to be
coach.
I want to be coach, man. I mean, Coach BC or Coach Collins, and the best thing that happened to me was going to Deer Creek Middle School. Is I didn't, not my favorite job by any means, but I'm working with kids that are a lot younger now, and having to be, a lot more strict, and I can't be the fun, cool coach anymore.
Yeah.
I got to be stern, and I got to be. You know what I mean? So that was the best thing that happened to me. And then after that, it was just a whole new level of maturity going forward. And so just always stuck with me. I mean, that was just the best thing that happened to me. Looking back, not during the moment, but looking back, it was probably the best move for me.
Man, I can't even, obviously I was young. When I was, my first time I was 19.
Yeah.
I played with the guys I was coaching.
Yeah.
When I came into it, they're like, I just need you to be the players coach. Like you need that they need something, they're struggling. You talk to them, you handle it. Blah blah. I ain't get my coach name for a little while. You know what I mean? Because I was like, y'all know me. I've known y'all since y'all was young. You know, whatever, it's cool. But once the first time I heard Coach Tony, it was like, all right, yeah,
meant something.
you know, this is my thing. You know, it holds a lot of weight. You know, especially like around the state. A lot of people don't know your first name.
Oh,
And you're like, hey,
fact.
you Coach Tony or Coach Carrington or whatever. So, but man, I don't know. It's unreal, man. How is it coaching in a Christian league, or for a Christian school?
Well, I'll say this: coaching in the private schools, a lot of people don't like private schools. They feel that they have an advantage financially, and they may, but at the end of the day, like they still have to follow all the guidelines and rules. So so when you play teams, you sometimes feel a type of way because they view you as, I wouldn't say you're better than them, but they put you on a higher pedestal for no reason.
Right.
So when I was at probably one of the bigger, when we was at Bishop McGuinness, it was crazy because it wasn't the kids that was the issue. It was the opposing team and the parents that just really genuinely hated you.
Right.
Like it wasn't like, I'm like, man, I just seen, whoop-de-whoop. But if you didn't know them, they'd automatically assume that you're better than them. Right. I'm like, bro, I'm struggling over here paying my OG&E bill.
Yeah.
Like, and you mad at me for what? Just because I like to coach basketball and I got an opportunity.
Right.
But I think the stigma out there, I think the thing is the stigma that they have for private schools, I think is slowly changing because of me and him coaching.
Yeah.
Because we're not, we barely dress up at games.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
He had J's on one.
yeah, we wear J's,
yeah,
we wear Maxes, we have max out days. It's like we just want to coach. Like we're not, not saying I'm not saying anything, negative, but people really view us now, I think, differently as a private school. Like it's kind of a joke now. Like, oh, y'all coach at a private school, and then they like, oh, well, you got them girls playing. We'll do it. Like they starting to look at them for more of their talent than just they
natural respect.
Yeah, it's more of a respect that they've earned. So.
And I think a lot of it is where you go, because when you go to Heritage Hall and you go to McGuinness and schools like that, Victory Christian in Tulsa, they have a history of winning.
Yeah.
And they have a history of producing really good talent. I think with us being at such a small school, they don't expect our girls to be tough.
Right.
And so. Not, no disrespect to our girls or anybody before us, but that stigma was kind of true coming in. And we really had to change it. And now, one of the best compliments I received the other day was, and we played, Frontier, and they were ranked right behind us. And anybody that knows Frontier girls know that it's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like, they are very, very talented, and they have a lot of state championships. And they said, if you want to beat our girls, you got to play 30 minutes of tough physical basketball. And before we got there, if we would have said this, this time last year or before we got the job, we'd look at you crazy.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got girls, being aggressive and ripping the ball out of other teams' hands and looking at them on the ground. Like, man, this is not how we started off. But they've come a long way. And they play with a chip on their shoulder, and it comes from us. So we tell them all the time, man, just be tough. We got a lot of inside things that we do. Our hashtag is stay down.
Stay down.
We can't really explain it, but
I was about to say, what's that mean?
Hey man, you had to be there for that moment.
you had to be there, man.
It's we got a picture of the moment. It's one of those. It's gonna be a picture that the school will have to frame because it was
Wow.
It was a moment.
It was a moment.
I'll just say that.
It was a moment, and then it was crazy because then we found a similar picture from OU. The guy from OU that did it.
Wow.
And I was like, look, you about to catch on fire, young lady.
What grade she in?
She's a senior, and so basically the story is she's a super sweet girl, super sweet girl, and we were playing our biggest rival, our first home game
Off the court. She's
on the court too. She's just a really
she's a
super
genuinely
sweet person.
good. We see her as a future teacher for Oklahoma Public Schools.
Yeah, and so there was a play where they're going for a loose ball. and then the referee blows a whistle, and she kind of rips it, and then the girl, goes with her and kind of slams her head, and she wasn't trying to hurt her, but just that moment of toughness, and then she kind of looks at it and goes, "Stay down."
Yeah, she pointed down on the ground. She said, "Stay down."
Wow.
And we looked at it, we're like, "Did she just?" And then I was just like, "Oh my God, like this is."
And it's a home game.
Oh man, and the crowd's going crazy.
Crowd's
man.
going bananas.
And it was just one of those deals that set the tone for the entire year because we're like, if this sweet girl can do this and play this hard, man, after that, man, we just like, so we're a team that you don't want to see, man. And
That's dope.
yeah, man. So it just kind of set the tone for the whole year. So we've actually been known this year and respected for our defense, which was complete opposite last year.
Yeah.
Y'all play man a lot?
Man, whole year.
A whole year.
All game?
We'll mix it up a little bit.
Well,
Yeah. We'll mix it up a
I
little
will
bit.
say when we played Frontier, we played man the whole time because
game.
he told me about the guy from the radio stations saying you playing them. He said we ain't seen a team play like that in Class A in a long time.
Really?
And you got to remember we're Class A.
Right.
I mean we are considered the city team, and all the other teams we play is out.
In the boonies.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They like you might hit a deer driving to the game if you're not
I don't
careful.
even know where Frontier is at.
It's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, Luther, I don't know where that's at.
Hey man, hey, I'm gonna tell you one thing too. Small town ball, them girls get buckets.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
They just don't get a lot of publicity. But man, I'm gonna tell you, just by us like seeing teams that we may have to future play and stuff. I mean, yeah, when they play these big 6As, yeah, they're gonna struggle. But man, if you put that girl in a 6A school, like for instance, like Edmond North or something, she's gonna kill. She's gonna kill. Really? I mean, I don't know, and I ain't gonna lie to him. I didn't know anything about small town ball.
Right.
My country is like, oh yeah, you out there in Noble.
Yeah.
That's what we thought what country is. Now we talking about. We had to go to a town called Surreal.
I don't even know. That.
Exactly.
How you spell it?
You exit off the turnpike, brother. That's it.
That's crazy.
It's like those small towns you see in the movies, like
Yeah.
they got the train track, and then you got the one stoplight.
Yeah, every small town now got the Dollar General.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, man, but like you go to small towns like that, and they pack those gyms.
But that's it though, because us being 6A,
Right.
you got every other event going on at that school.
Right.
So you may have a band competition going on.
wrestling.
You may man. So it's like there's always something going on. I will say the best part about being at a small school is for a lot of these small towns, that's the nightly event.
Right. That's all
So
they're gonna
once
do.
they get off work, man, the whole town's going to the game.
Yeah.
And then they're going against us too, and we're ranked high, so they want to beat us.
Right.
So the atmosphere is already electric. So it's just like, man, for us, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Like we had to play Winniewood. We had to wait for everybody to get off work at the meal. Then he said, no, we can't start early. And we got there about an hour, maybe even close to 2 hours. And he was like, no, we can't start early because all our fans, they got to get off of work. And I was like, man, I said, that's crazy that these small towns get that much support for their kids. And these are kids these are alumni coming. These are grandma, grandpa, all that coming to a game.
Whole
Whole family.
family.
It's a family event. We're gonna stop and get us a little Caesar's pizza, and we don't ask you for nothing when we get in there, and we're gonna watch this basketball game.
Because our JV game starts at 3:30. So
And probably ain't nobody there.
not a soul. Girls and then boys at 4:45. Even still, people aren't there.
Look, when you play these small towns, JV games
Yes.
start to get packed.
And they going crazy at the refs.
Yeah.
JV games.
Like
man.
if you listen to like the games, like when you put them on Huddle, you'll hear them. You'll hear that random dad, that random grandpa, the random mom just giving the ref the business. And I mean, and it's consistent. Like they're, and the crazy part is sometimes they're right. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, so when I came to Mustang, it was a one school town. We come from Moore. I come from Moore, where there's 3 schools right around the block. So I just grew up in Shawnee. So he would be like, one school town, man, the atmosphere is crazy. And, Mustang, huge now.
Big.
But then, obviously, when we got there, it was bad. But then we started winning. And then all of a sudden, the town's just coming in. We walking around, people talking to us. They got council members coming and bank owners, all, and I'm just like, okay, this is what you need.
Yeah.
But then my favorite experiences when I was starting to get in is my wife loved small school. She went to CHA.
We
So
beat
she would
them
be
twice.
Like, she would be like, let's go to the big house. Like,
Oh
yeah.
man, hey.
And when I went to the big house, I'm like, oh my
Change your
goodness.
mind.
Like
Change
the
your
whole
mind.
community comes from
Yeah.
3 hours away.
Yeah, they got their campers and
That's what
everything.
I'm saying. They might ride in the bus together. You're like, whoa. So,
and
so
they're
that's
there
why,
for the whole weekend.
And I think a small school kids experience is great because they get to enjoy something. Like when you go to college, a lot of times people ain't having fans,
No.
especially nowadays.
No.
Like I watched Southwestern Christian play the other day. Nobody, not 50, 60 people maybe.
Yeah.
They playing in front of 100, 200, 300 people. They'll never get to experience that again.
No.
And then you play with all the kids you grew up with, and so on and so
man.
forth.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how it is in private school, but my wife, she says like, I'm a lifer or something. All of them was together from the age of 4 to
No,
18.
that's
That is
fact.
a big fact.
We had our 2 seniors last year. They graduated. They had baby pictures together. Like, and they went from pre-K all the way up to senior and graduating. And that's also, we give them crap all the time about being at a small school. And like, man, you don't get tired of each other. 'Cause,
facts.
you've been in the same classes every day since 2nd, 3rd grade or however long it's been. But just that bond, man. I think we're a really close team.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say that, but like we are a really, really close team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, man.
The good, the bad, the ugly, but at the end of the day, it's a family, and I think that's another reason why we love it so much, man. These girls, man, they'll do anything for each other, and they'll do anything for us.
Yeah.
So man, it's been incredible. But the big house, man, that was our goal from the jump.
Jump.
We're like, man, let's get there some way, somehow. Let's get there. And this year, we have an incredible opportunity. Our season's not over yet, but we got a great chance. We just got to go get it. We just got to go take it.
So when you got there, kind of explain the transition you went from McGinnis to OCA and then from assistant to head. Like, what was the toughest transition for you?
Honestly, it really wasn't a tough transition. I think the hardest part was just being in the middle of a pandemic. Like I said, man, it was just there was so much uncertainty. So it's like, and coming from an assistant your whole career, and honestly, that summer that I applied for that job, that was the first time I ever applied for a head job.
Okay.
I never thought I was ready. Never thought I was ready.
Wow. What gave you the courage to apply?
I'll say this. When I was at McGinnis, the coach that I was under, and I didn't like it at the time, but the varsity would go to a tournament, and I always wanted to be with the varsity, of course, because I was the head assistant. And he said, no, I want you to take your JV team to a Little Axe tournament and go play. Give these guys some extra playing time. And I'm like, no, like I want to be with the varsity.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Even though I'm the JV coach, I need to be with these guys because these are the ones that count. And he was like, no. And so looking back, the first year I was there, we knocked off a ranked team. I think it was Noble. Ended up beating another team the next day, and it made it to the championship game. And this is a varsity tournament.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and I was by myself along with another coach, Coach Love. Shout out to Los. But it was just us two, and I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like close games. But I will say we got smacked in the championship game by Riverside. Hey man,
Them boys can run.
hey, I don't want to talk about it. But the following year, same situation. We I can't remember who we lost to, but we ended up winning the Constellation Championship. So my record there, is a winning record. I have 2 trophies from that, and I'm like,
dope.
okay, maybe I can do this.
Okay.
So fast forward, I applied for the McGinnis job whenever it opened up. Didn't get it, and I was bummed, man. He knows, man. I was hurt
Really?
because the kids that I was there with, man, I built such a great rapport and such a great relationship with. And they were all rooting for me to get it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, didn't work out. But I'll say that to say this is fast forward. I think a month or 2 later, I reached out to the OCA coach for something. I saw that he changed his bio, and we were always friends on Twitter. I was like, hey, man, did you get this job at this, this college? Like, yeah. I was like, congrats. How you like it and things like that. We had a conversation. He was like, you should apply for the OCA job. I was like, it's a girl's job. He was like, I think you should apply for it. I was like, you think? I was like, okay. And so he put in a great word for me. Talked to the AD, had a couple meetings, gave him the call, like, hey, it's a possibility. Yeah. I'm there. And then it's honestly been the greatest thing for me because as much as I was disappointed about one door being closed, another one opened up.
Absolutely.
And then that let me know right there, okay, God was looking out for me.
For sure.
So everything I do going forward, I don't want it to be forced. Like I want it to be organic. I want it to be natural because I tried to force that situation at McGinnis. Didn't work out because God was opening up this door for me. So, I'm grateful. Very, very grateful for it.
Man. That's dope.
Appreciate it.
Well, man.
Mike, you want to be a head one day?
Yeah, man. But sometimes it's just if it's not in the plan, it's just not in the plan. Being a head coach, that's everyone's dream. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you coach, you want to be a head coach sometime. But the thing is if you're successful being an assistant, then just be an assistant.
Right there with you,
because being a head coach, it comes with a lot more responsibilities. Right. But like you said earlier, when you're an assistant, you build different type of bonds with kids. And you get to do different things. As a head coach, you got administration on your neck. Right. More than what you would probably want. But one day I'm sure a head coaching job will be in the plans. But right now, I'm taking it day by day. Because if I become a head coach, that means everything in my life has to change. Right. And man, that might not be the best thing.
And one thing for me, and with him is, I don't go like there's a ranking order. Like, okay, I'm number one, you're number two, and that, like, you know what I mean? There's times he'll be like, call the timeout. I'm like, hey, ref, let me get one. Right. And he's got them. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? That happens often. Like, we bounce off of each other so well. Like, our chemistry is crazy because there's no hierarchy. Like, there's no, like, I'm the dominant coach and you do what I say. Like, no, man. They know. Wednesday practice, the girls already know too. Wednesday practice is Coach Mike practice.
Oh,
and they come in, man. They so nervous, but because it's a tough practice. Yeah. But every time we have a Wednesday practice, our next game is fire. We kill teams.
Really?
We kill teams because they're so prepared. And it's and a lot of times, and you know this too, man. Anytime you hear one voice for too long,
right?
Man, a lot of times they tune it out.
No
and
doubt.
So it's great to hear from other people. So that's why being an assistant for so long and not having a voice at certain jobs, I'm not going to say where, but not having a voice at times, man, I was like, if I ever get the opportunity to be a head coach, I'm making sure my assistants know that they can run their practices, they can do this, they can do that, because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about this team and whatever's going to help us be successful.
Right.
And I'm not successful without him next to me, man. It's and then our other coach, Coach Brooke, shout out to Coach Brooke. It's just such a great dynamic with us three. Mm-hmm. I can be tough, and he can be tough. She can be tough, but at the end of the day, all of these kids can come to us, and they have, and they can talk about whatever it is. So it's just a great balance. And not every coach can do that.
No. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you gotta have balance. Like, and a lot of people don't realize that. Like, a lot of these teams out here feel like you have to have the most dominant, type of, I guess, culture. Yeah. Man, you gotta have balance because when you're coaching girls, that balance keeps everything calm. Girls react different than what boys will. So if they see that there's chaos in the coaching, then they're going to have chaos. If they see we calm and we stay calm, they're going to be calm. It's just, but like, in boys, you can have a strong presence and boys will tune you out.
That's facts.
They will tune you out so quick, and then you're like, well, man, and then you react away because you be like, I'm ready to choke you out. You're not gonna. One thing, you're not gonna be disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
But that's how if your coaching crew is calm and you got a culture that you're trying to build, man, it don't matter who the head coach is. It's because they don't look at it that way.
Right.
They like, well, dang, if we let Coach Mike down, we're gonna let we're going to let Coach Brooke and Coach BC down. And we let Coach Brooke down and Coach Mike and Coach BC. And it's just, they know. They respond different. They want us to be proud of them.
That's facts.
You know, they want us to enjoy their accolades. They want us to laugh and joke with them and, you know, just be a normal person.
Yeah.
Not, oh, I got to see him in math.
Yeah, that's facts.
And I will say that's another thing. I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you good. Go ahead.
Not having to really like be at the school.
Yeah.
That's one thing I will say is a really good perk about private schools. Like not having to be there. Because I think a lot of times, man, if I got to see this coach in PE and then I got to go see, you know, another coach in social studies and I got to go see him in practice, like, man, I'm tired of looking at you.
I'm tired.
So
That's
for us, you know, their first time seeing us is at practice.
That's beautiful.
And so it's like, you know, we're only 2 hours out of the day, man.
Yeah.
And so it's dope.
And if they are mad, and then when they are mad and they try and they may think that we're holding a grudge, they ain't got to see us in the morning. We not monitoring no halls.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm at work. Like, what you talking about? And so then when they see us at practice, it's like most of the time they forget.
Yeah. Which is good.
And as kids, you know, they forget and we move on. But we always keep it, as an adults, we keep it in the back of our mind that we need to address it. But that's what you asked earlier, the positive things about private school. Like you said, if they don't want you to teach there, they just want you to coach basketball. That's what you do.
That's beautiful. If I could only coach basketball every day, I would.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
It's crazy because, like, at where I coach at, all the heads are PE teachers, but none of the players get PE.
Yep.
So they just got like lifting and then the day. So really, it's sometimes how it is for especially Hodges. Hodges, like, it's different because at Westmore you'd have them in your class, all this type of things. And me, I actually don't teach at the school. I teach at another school and I go there. So the players really don't ever see me until I get there, and it's refreshing because, you know, me and Hodges and all our coaches, you know, we sometimes, you know, all of us got the good cop, bad cop situations.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a lot of times the guys get frustrated and they vent to me.
Yep.
I'm like, okay,
I was that guy.
I'm like, cool. You know,
was that guy.
Yeah. And the thing about me is, like, you're a young man. We're going to communicate. I'm going to teach you how, even in life, how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? So, like, coaching girls, how do you handle that? Like, when a girl comes to you, you know, say it's a situation outside of the game, and that you got to address.
You become a father. Your father skills kick in because they're coming to you about something that to them is a big deal, but, you know, in your mind you're like, all right, this is you know, kind of mental, you know, I'm not about to stress out about this, like, but the fact that you come to them like as a parent, because, you know, nothing against anybody's parents, but a lot of these parents are not raising their kids. Yeah. So they just kind of let them run rampant. So they come to us because they feel safe. Kids still need that safety feature. Like, they need that bubble. Like, oh, I know when I'm with Coach BC, Coach Mike, Coach Brooke, I feel safe.
Right.
You know, now, if a kid ever says they don't feel safe around you, then that's when you need to question yourself. Like, what are you here for? Yeah. Because, you know, at the end of the day, man, it's not about the wins and losses, man. It's about how you gonna impact this kid's life.
That's right.
You know?
And for like even at McGinnis, you know, a lot of our kids, man, they didn't want to play college ball. Like, they knew what their plan was, you know, since they were little. You know, probably worked for their dad right out of school, and so for them it was just a lot of times, man, I love the game and I'm gonna go give it everything I have, but you know, college ball is in the future for me. So I don't know how I got to that point, but for us at OCA, I think it's number one. It makes you feel very, very rewarding, because whenever a kid will come and talk to you about something that has nothing to do with basketball, that lets you know that they're comfortable with you, right? And, you know, if it's, you know, relationship stuff or drama or, you know, just anything, you know, little like that, I don't take it as, you know, there's never a problem too big or too small. Like, hey, let's talk. Let's get off your chest. Because at the end of the day, man, growing up for us, even though we're not old, we didn't have nearly as many distractions as these kids have these days.
That's fact.
You know what I mean? Like, we didn't have to worry about getting on social media and this person talking about me, or this person, you know, took a screenshot of something and it got taken the wrong way. Like, we just, if we wanted to go hoop, we went to go hoop. Yeah. If we wanted to hang out, we hung out together. Right. There was nobody, you know, texting about us. And so right now for these kids, there's so many different distractions and outlets. So it's like, man, a lot of these issues, like growing up, I'm like, man, how would I handle this?
Right.
So I never want to be like, oh, well, they're kids, they'll get over it. Like, no, they have legit mental health matters. They have,
It's everything.
yeah, man.
I mean, because to be honest with you, like when we was growing up, man, phones was nothing. There was no. I remember having a MySpace.
Yeah.
And then when you had a Facebook, you had to have a college email.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Facebook, you had to have that college email.
crazy.
mcarrington33@ou.edu. I mean, but you had to have it. That's the only way you used to get it. But the thing is now, like he was saying, there's so many distractions for the kids now because I hate to say this, but there's money involved in those distractions.
Yeah.
So if I'm a company and I wanna make money, and my target goal is to reach out to the children, then that's what I'm going to go for. I'm not worried about how their mental health is.
Right.
My bank account's good. Yeah. And I think because we have to challenge sometimes. I have to challenge kids all the time. Like, hey man, you might have to put your phone down for about a month or two. They do it, and then their whole psyche and their mind changes because they're not worrying about what could possibly be out there in this social media world. Yeah, because you're not on your phone. Your parents is even happier. They're like, oh man, they came in and watched a movie with us tonight. And I'm like, well, dang, what did y'all watch? And they're like, I don't remember, but she was in there. Yeah. You know, because it's crazy because kids get so consumed on this. I mean, for instance, like TikTok. I watch TikTok. Everybody watches TikTok. We share TikToks. We laugh all the time. Yeah. But man, some of these kids, they feel like that may be their ticket out.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not reality, you know? Like, because our ticket out was to graduate high school. Yeah. You graduate high school, and then when you become an adult, you can decide if you go to college. But like a lot of these kids, their parents is pushing them to do it. Some parents push their kids to be in that social media world. Yeah. And then you got to deal with all this mental health stuff. Mm-hmm. It's sad. I mean, I've seen it firsthand.
What would you say the biggest difference is from, let's say, athletes from 10 years ago to now? And so we can go girls or boys, whichever one, because boys, you know, obviously I'm around it every day. So that's just what it is, but we'll go with girls.
I'll let you go first.
Oh, well, I could tell you from 10 years from now, 10 years before and today, girls basketball wasn't very popular 10 years ago. Maybe the big thing that I seen is girls took care of themselves.
Meaning?
You didn't have to worry as much as them getting in trouble. I think a lot of girls now, and I think the parents, they treat their girls because they worry about the bad stuff that could happen to them because they have too much free time. Yeah. Idle time, idle mind. So 10 years ago, girls would always be in the gym.
Right.
Now, it's cool to be in the gym because there's a camera in there. Or it's cool to be in the gym because she's in the gym, so I want to look like her. Yeah. 10 years ago, man, you know when I used to coach girls, like you remember when I used to coach like Tara Martini and all them. Hey, these girls was hoopers.
Yeah, ready to get in.
I mean, they didn't care what they looked like. They was like, man, we just need a number. Yeah. Now if you do that, it's like, well, we gotta do this. And I'm like, man,
nice jersey.
Yeah, we gotta look cute.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey man, I ain't worried about looking cute.
That's facts.
But I mean, you know for a fact, some of the girls that I used to coach, they used to go to Westmore and Moore. Man, I tell you what, man, we used to practice at when it was called Hillsdale.
Yeah.
And we be in there, and them girls used to sweat it out. Now I gotta make sure I got air conditioned gyms.
Crazy, bro.
Man, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I can't really blame it on the kids. It's really the parents. Right. It's really the parents because I don't know where. I mean, parents is usually around my age. I'm like, do you not remember practicing in hot gyms?
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of them they didn't like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It took a negative effect on them or something. You're like, well, that was beautiful.
Yeah. I had something to do.
Yeah, taught you how to be tough. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I tell you, man, we used to, we'd have our janitors, and we would get real close with them because they would leave a door open.
Yeah.
And actually, we would leave the door open, but they wouldn't close it because they knew what that meant.
Yeah.
And so we'd come in at, after practice or a couple hours after practice over. And, one thing about us, man, at Santa Fe, all of our coaches, they had families. And they had young kids, so they had to get home. Yeah. They didn't have, a BC or a Tony to, stay after practice and let's get shots up. And so we would have to go home. And so a a lot of us, man, our parents ain't getting off till 6:30 or whatever it is.
Facts.
Like, we already here, so we wait till they leave. We kick it in the locker room, and then we leave that door open. We go get something to eat, come back, and then we sneak and turn the light on. But now it's accessible, but the kids don't want to get in there.
It's really weird.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
really
there's a
strange.
gym anywhere for any kid that wants to get better. They just don't want to get better because, and a lot of times
It's inconvenient.
It's exactly.
Which
It's
is-
like
which
you're
is
telling
so
me, like,
strange.
I can do this, or I can go work. I think I'm gonna kick it this weekend.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, it's just it's not the cool thing to do. But to answer your question, 10 years ago on the boys' side, man, I can tell you right now, if I got a lot of partners right now that should have been D1 or should have been at the higher level that they were, but there was no prep hoops. There was no ball is life. There was no there's so much more exposure. Like, we know who the number one kindergartner is in the nation right now. You know what I mean? Back then it was just, you know who the number one was, you know who the number two was.
Yeah.
And that was it. And if you saw them play, it was either on ESPN or it was like an AAU event that you went to with your team.
Yeah.
Now, man, you know who the top 1 through 300 is from the seniors now to, elementary school, which
It's
is
money.
exactly. And
Ba-
so
ba-
there's so
basketball-
much exposure now.
Basketball has turned into a money cow. Like, think about it. Here's an example, just to make you think. When did volleyball become so popular?
Club.
Popular? Yeah.
Club volleyball, man. Look, when I was at McGinnis, I had kids that would miss high school games
To go play volleyball.
to go play in a competitive volleyball tournament.
Yeah.
And nothing against volleyball, because hey, but it's less contact, everything like that. But I mean, all athletics for youth sports, it has turned into a money thing because there's no way back in our day when I played, if you was on a B or a C team, you not playing, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a team for everybody now.
yeah.
There's a
We're
team for
not.
everybody.
You if and that's why. Like, if you're on an A team or you just on my team, you're on my team. Like, we're not gonna be a C or a D team. I'm putting in work to make sure you're always at the top.
Right.
But now you don't have to be good. You could be a C team and be like, yeah, man, I play for the blue. I play for I play for this team on the blue squad. Or it's turned into a money thing.
Because I think about when I played or we played, there wasn't events going on when we had games or
No.
or it was like after season, during season, there wasn't an AAU tournament on the weekend.
No.
Like,
There's
especially
games
for
being
high school
played
kids.
now.
That's what I'm saying, for high school kids,
Yes.
like, what?
High school, look, and here's the thing. I'm on the AAU side, and I will say this is, it's hard. People always say that there's a battle between AAU coaches and school ball coaches, and I'm just gonna clear the air and I'm gonna say my piece and we can move on. But here's the reality of the situation.
Be careful.
I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to be investigated. In Oklahoma, we are so behind in athletics.
Yes.
Boys and girls?
Boys and girls.
Okay.
Now, if you go to the state that's south of us,
Okay.
do you understand they're already doing their districts and playoffs right now? Like, they're almost done. So when you are trying to compete, and here's the thing. When you're in the AAU world, you're not in it. Some people are not in it for the right reasons, but when you want to compete and you want to get players ready to go, you have to, in Oklahoma, you have to like prepare yourself like 4 or 5 months ahead of time, because by the time we're done here in Oklahoma, if your team makes state, it's spring break. The first big tournament is the first weekend of April.
Right.
So that gives you 2 weeks, and not everybody's going to practice during spring break. So that's why, like, as far as like high school coaches and AAU coaches, it has to be a happy medium. And I think that's where a lot of these kids, it's the kids and the parents that put these coaches against each other. It's not just the coach and the coach going at it, because I can go sit at a game and he ain't gonna come say nothing to me, or she's not gonna say nothing to me, because there's no problems there. But it becomes a problem when the head coach doesn't invest in the kids in the school that plays in their school ball program and give them an opportunity. So parents look at it like, well, dang, he's not doing his job as a coach, blah, blah, blah. So then they go to the AAU coach. Now, some of these AAU coaches don't coach school ball, so they get belligerent. They get, a little wild. But that's where the problem is like we're not on the same page in this whole region.
Yeah.
Like, and here's the thing: Oklahoma has some really good basketball players, boys and girls. But there's tryouts going on now for high school teams.
Yeah. In Dallas?
No, in Oklahoma.
Oh.
Because Dallas they're doing theirs. Their state is in February,
Yeah, because a lot of the AU teams just announced like March 13th.
Yeah.
All that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
so
they want to get that first possible chance
Yeah.
to get these
Which
athletes.
is legitimately right after the week of state.
Because everybody can't make state.
Yeah, everybody
it's
can't
true.
wake
Everybody
state.
can't make it.
So a lot of these coaches, and there's a lot of old school coaches that are here, and I will say this too. I know for a fact there's a lot of school ball coaches that don't help their players. They don't put their players, like if you have a good player and they want to go play college ball, then you as a school ball coach, you have more access than an AAU coach because you can get on Huddle, make them a video or whatever, and they will respond to you quicker than they'll respond to me as an AAU coach. But that happy medium is going to happen when parents learn how to just be a parent.
Right.
Not because parents will throw their school ball coach under the bus, and their school ball coach could be a really good coach and really putting time into their kid, but it's not good enough. It's always something.
Right.
So the big dilemma is how do you fix the parent? Because the kid is always going to say one coach is wrong, one coach is right.
Right.
And I'm on both sides of it, So I have to be very careful on like when I post stuff or when I say I'm doing tryouts and things like that, because the first thing they say is like, "Hey, don't you coach school basketball? Aren't you at a so and so?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, it happened to me about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I had a coach get on my neck. I said, "Bro, I've never met you in my life." I said, "But there's no reason for you to just get on my neck about this because." I mean, and I'm not trying to be rude, but your team's not good right now.
Yeah.
Y'all might be one of those. You might have a kid that might be out the first round, but like I said, it's ugly here because we're so behind. Like we're behind in everything as far as sports, and then you got the coaches that will say, well, a lot of the kids that play high school sports don't want to play college. Well, you put that in the atmosphere in your program.
Yeah.
Then so and every coach dreams of their kids in high school going to go play the next level. I've never met a coach who be like, I don't care about them going nowhere.
No, we kind of took it like, even at Westmore, we ain't got the most talented kids, but we looked at it like we want to be the school that sends even those kids to school. Yeah. And at one point in time, we had sent them, arguably some of the most kids in a little short span, 4 or 5 years, the majority of schools. And if I look back on it, all the time I put in with helping them and putting them in front of schools and reaching out to people, they got to go out and handle their business. I just got to do that little due diligence. And we got to prepare them as players for the most part.
Yeah.
And they go on. But I know as a high school coach 9 years, there's been one kid that I've coached that got an offer from AAU. And that's from the boys. Yeah. And so, like, a lot of times, we get all these kids like, oh, AAU this, AAU that. I'm like, you got to understand.
It's true.
AAU's different for different realms of it. You got the EYBL, you got the Adidas Gauntlet, you got those big stuff, which, if your team's good enough, you're going to go to those. That's where the coaches are going to see you, whatever. Then you got some of these other ones, prep hoops, whatever. Right. But it's just, I don't know why.
But the thing is you getting kids, but you're working. You as a coach, you're doing your due diligence to help that kid that wants to go to college. Yeah. Like Coach BC here, he helped last year our girl get to a Division II school.
And I think a lot of times, and this is not to knock any AAU coach, but a college coach would rather hear from
a high school coach,
than an AAU coach.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, look how many AAU teams there are. How many of them are really credible? Right. And I'm not saying that every high school coach just knows what they're doing, but that's what you're going to get because high school ball and school ball is more comparable to the next level than I think AAU is. As far as
No, I agree.
I think the travel and style is different with AAU and college ball, but they want to hear from the high school coach.
And I think the reason why they like to hear from, and I know this, they love to hear from the high school coaches because most high school coaches are at the school with them. So when they ask questions, they're not just asking about their basketball. They're asking about their character. How are they in practice every day? You know, in AAU, you may get 1 or 2 practices a week. School ball, you practicing every day. How were they during their off season? Were they focused? What's their GPA? Were they committed? Did you have attitude problems? Did you have this? How were they parents?
That's another one.
Here's the thing. In AAU ball, when a college coach hit me up, they text me and say, hey, coach, can you send me some information on this kid? Yes. Do you have any film on this kid? Yes. Can I get their school information? Yes. Do you know what their ACT is? Here you go. And then you kind of bridge the gap between that the player and the college coach. And then it goes to the high school. And then it's got us, we have so much talent here. We have to start bridging that gap, because the gap is when it goes to the high school coach and the AAU coach, and they not on the same page.
Gotta work together.
Yeah, because the high school coach is saying something, and then if the AAU coach is like, no, he don't know what he's talking about, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, it causes disruption. Yeah. You know, and then everybody wants credit. Here, at the end of the day, look, I got my degree. I'm done. Like I'm trying to get these kids to the next level. I'm not here to discredit a kid, but I'll be honest about them. And that's one thing I will say about BC here is when he helped that girl last year to get to where she is, he put in his work. He put in the work. He did the video. He put in that work for her, and he kept those college coaches coming to our practices because they're gonna come. You know, because it's like, especially if it's a local school, they're gonna come. Everybody that has a kid that is college ready, they will come to your school during your off season or before your first scrimmage. Right. And so it's bad that, you know, it's got a bad rep, but if more high school coaches would put in that work, man, it changed the whole. It would change the whole AAU game, because back when I played, we didn't have to play no, 18 to 15, 18 tournaments in the summer. Yeah, man, you played 6, and you better get to work.
That's crazy.
Because you got to remember, like, there were certain months selected for school ball, and I think now that's where we're kind of getting the issues. Is I'll have my summer planned out for my school team, and I may have a girl who's playing on a really good team, and they're going to this place and they're going that place, and it conflicts, and so it's tough, but there's a balance. You just got to find it.
Yeah,
you just got to find it.
We're definitely there. It took us a lot of time because obviously, we got pretty good players.
Yeah,
and all of them play AAU, but we just kind of look at it like, look, the month of June, let us have it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all we ask.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
When the off season or after season, y'all got AAU stuff. Do your thing.
Do your thing.
Everybody needs a rest. But
we'll see you after Labor Day.
Right. Yeah. And so it's come one of those things like I really want people to understand, like, we AAU coaches and high school coaches don't want any feud.
No.
We want to be on the same page, but sometimes I feel like, and I don't know, either one is either lacking communication, doesn't want to have communication, kind of wants to, mine's more important than yours.
Yes.
And it's like it's not about me and you, it's about the kid.
It's about the kid.
And as long as we understand what's best for them, we cool.
And people and people that lose focus of that, that's where that stigma comes in, where I don't want you to play for that AAU coach.
Yeah. I
don't think that's a good person. And it's simply because
you might not like them.
Yeah, might not like them.
Yeah.
And it's vice versa. I mean, it's an ugly game because it's a lot of money involved with it.
It is.
And the thing is when you start playing with people's livelihood, it gets a little personal, But when you do it out of love for the game, and you just want to see people kids be successful, you don't have those problems.
Right.
You don't have those problems.
And that's how it is with me. I've done AAU. It's not for me. I'm not. You know what I mean?
Bro,
it's not.
He wore me out.
Hey man,
but for him, that's what he does, and he's the boss, and so he's got so many people working under him, and it's a well-oiled machine. More power to you.
Facts.
For with me, I would love. I'm the guy that I'm gonna go watch y'all play.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go support you, and I tell our girls all the time, like,
Send us a schedule.
I need you playing, because if you want to play for me, and you're not doing anything else this summer, you're hurting your team.
Yeah.
Like, I know it shouldn't be mandatory, but I think you need to be doing something more.
Because I agree with him, because basically you pick up where you left off in March,
Boy.
and then you and all that time. And I'm not saying you got to go play with the top tier, because like we said earlier, you got an A, B, C, D.
Right.
You got
levels for
non-elite.
everybody.
There's we just need you to get out there and get some run.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be one of those where I got to go to college. Like, you're gonna go to college, but we need you to do something as far as your game. Like, if we say, hey, we want you over the summer, because at the end of the season, every coach has that little talk with each player.
Yeah, facts.
We're like, hey, we want you to make sure you can develop your left hand during the summer, so when we come back, we can add more. That's what your weakness is in your game, and you don't put no effort into doing it.
Start from scratch.
You're back from
every year.
back to scratch. It's easy to get people in shape, but man, we can't get that left together if you don't want to put in no time.
That's true.
And I feel like that, like, because here's a prime example: softball players, volleyball players, they're always doing training.
Always.
Year round.
Yeah.
Like, you're not taking off.
Yeah.
You're not playing games, but you're doing your skill.
Yeah, that's facts.
Pitchers.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a pitching lesson at 6:30. Coach, you think I can get out of here early?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, man, what you talking about?
At a young age.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And they in there for about an hour and a half. But you know what? When it's time for their season, guess what? They're ready.
Yeah. I tell you one thing we're running into that's kind of iffy sometimes is trainers. Because
that's
it's
a
like,
whole nother.
I'm going to step out on that one.
you know what I mean? Because like, it's like, your trainer's a certain way. And so a couple of my players, we had conversations like, hey, man, what you used to do is not great. We need to get back to the old, whatever you were
Fundamentals.
So here's my opinion on that. I'm not.
Make sure you say your name, BC, because I'm not getting onto this training thing. Because
Well, so here's the thing: the kids have to be honest with themselves, and it's hard because, we all train. We've all have trained.
Yeah, fact.
And so you'll see a kid like, oh man, this kid is good. Why aren't they getting more opportunities? Why aren't they getting more shots? That's not their role on that team.
Bro, talk to them.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
man.
we have kids with different roles. This role for player number A may be just spot up in the corner, hit your open threes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it's time to train, we can work on ball handling, but we don't need. My coach doesn't need me to do that during the game.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with working on it. But this trainer is now saying, okay, so when it's time for the game time, I need you to hit this move, make this hezzy, get to the rim. You know what I mean? To do this. So it's like, you want your players to be well-rounded, and I want them to know, be talented in every aspect of the game. But don't feed these kids, man, you got to shoot the ball more.
Yeah.
You got to do this more. You got to do that more. Have them talk to their coach and say, hey, what do you need from me? And if they don't know their role, then honestly, they shouldn't be playing.
Man, I really think no understanding that for young players, because I think we have to tell our guys all the time, not everybody's gonna shoot.
Right.
Like, I hate to say it, but it's a fact of life. In life, you're not gonna always get everything you want, bro. It's just not how it's gonna go.
So everybody has a different role.
Yeah, and if you become great in your role in life, you could be very successful.
You can be very
so
successful.
for our team, for example, it's like our role guys took a long time for them to just kind of swallow the bullet. Like, this is my role. Let me just do that. And it went from we kind of having feuds to where it's like, okay, I'm locked in. Here it goes. And that's why we're pretty successful as a program. Absolutely. And it's showing the future kids, like, look, don't really worry about all that. And AAU sometimes, that might be your role. You might be the man on that team. Okay, cool, you do that. But on this team, we need you to be this way.
I mean, let's look for an example. I mean, let's go Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, fact.
Every single one of those dudes on that team has been the man.
And can go.
It can go any night.
Even Draymond proved that, he can score with the best of them. I mean, he dropped 30 points in, the game 7 whenever they lost to Cleveland.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not a big Draymond fan.
I'm not either, but
Okay.
I'm saying
I'm
that.
not, but I respect Draymond.
Exactly. And the reason I say that is He knows for a fact, if I shoot this shot and I got Steph next to me or I got Clay next to me, that's not a winning game.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it because of my ego.
Right.
So he had to swallow his pride and say, hey, in order for us to be successful, I got to be the person that screams for these guys.
Yep.
I got to be the person that dives on the floor so they don't have to.
Yeah. Rebound battle.
And everybody knows their role. That's why they're so successful.
Mm-hmm.
Even Clay.
Yeah.
Like Clay
Clay
could go anywhere and be a number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily.
Easily. You know what I mean? To get $200 million. But he stays there because he wants to win. And everybody knows their role. So
And that's what people have to realize too. Parents, when I say people, parents have to realize, like, your kid may not be the best on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying, and like I said, I'm not getting into the trainer thing. Cause football, you just got to learn the team,
The offense.
the offense. You got to know their scheme
Right.
and where to be at. Basketball, man, you might have to do a box and one, triangle and two.
And we just did one last game.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So basketball is like, it's one of those sports where it's easier for a kid to get an ego because we have to spend time building a plan how to stop you.
Yeah.
A quarterback's a quarterback.
yeah. And I will say this, if you are a young player and you're, a hungry freshman or a eager sophomore,
Drop from gems.
understand that there's two sides of the floor that you got to play on. So, yes, you may be a talented offensive player, but if you're working on training, how many trainers got you doing footwork drills? You know what I mean? Right. Like making you faster, making you quicker. Mm-hmm. Anytime you see a training video, it's usually a bunch of cones, going a bunch of left hand, right hand crossovers, getting to the rim. That's all cool. Shooting is all cool.
But can you stop somebody?
Can you play any defense? Are you watching film? And if you watch film, what are you watching? What are you looking for?
What's the basketball IQ like?
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is lacking these days. But I don't knock trainers at all. I mean,
I mean, either.
do your thing, get your money. Because a lot of these trainers, they do support their kids. They'll go to the games and they'll go watch them.
And the thing is, there's good trainers. Don't get me wrong. There's some phenomenal trainers out here. Oklahoma's probably got some of the better trainers because the people that train, they've made it. They've accomplished it. Mm-hmm. But the problem is do the parents see what they're working on?
Right.
And is it going to fit their role for their team? Yeah. And I think that's where the problem is, because we got some great trainers. I have trainers come work with my kids, and they would do really good, but it's to add to their bag, and then add to their role, not add to your individual. You mean, because if you're going to be an individual player, you're not a team player. So
So drop some gems from. What would you tell young athletes, freshmen, 8th grade, coming up in the high school with?
I would tell them they need to start learning to hold themselves accountable. They need to learn how to watch film.
Hit the weight room and find your role. Like, be able to communicate with your coach. Like, hey, where do you see me on your team? Like, what are you needing for us to be successful? Maybe I can do that if I know. Because that's the problem. A lot of kids don't know. Like, they just go into practice and they kind of just, oh, well, I'm a freshman, I'm on the side, But if you talk to your coach and say, hey, where can I fit into this scheme of things where I can help the team?
Yeah.
And then when you called on, then you're ready. But I mean, like I said, the best thing for a young athlete to do is to have fun. Mm-hmm. If you don't have fun and you don't have that passion, don't go out there and get yourself hurt. Because I think a lot of kids are forced to play and they lose that passion and that fire. But the thing that I would say, if you said any type of gym to give a kid, is I would probably say have fun. Because if you're not having fun, I mean, it's worthless.
It's crazy. Coach Hajar, my head coach, we have these conversations with our seniors like, we play in one of the nicest places probably in the country. Like, keeping the bill.
Yeah, y'all got good tax paying.
They got locker rooms, the whole thing. And we're like, fellas, sometimes we don't feel like you guys enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Like, you're not appreciating what you're seeing because y'all guys, like, we even have to tell them, Coach Davis, Josh Davis, he be with us. He's like, some of my glory days, some of my best days, glory days, was in high school basketball.
Absolutely.
And you guys got to understand, when y'all get done in 2 months and you're just a regular student, things change.
And then you try to go to intramurals and
you're going to miss everything that you
miss
just
it
went
all.
through, even though a lot of times you didn't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for young athletes, you got to understand, start getting the love back for the grind of a 4-year high school sports career.
It's worth it. It makes you a better person.
And as long as you get in and do your job, I just had to tell one of our players the other day, the way to separate yourself in practice is to kill on both ends.
Yeah.
Now, no matter if you're not good at one, give
Make
your
up for it.
absolute
Yes.
best.
Yes.
Trying.
I
but
agree.
the way you show us that you care is if you ask questions.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of athletes are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to hear the response.
They don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah, and
They hate the
and
truth.
you got to understand, young people, you're going to be told the truth a lot in your life.
Yeah.
And it's an ugly truth sometimes, but it's definitely going to be worth it in the long haul.
And
Yeah.
I will say this, that's exactly why he was my first call, because I know I'm not getting a yes man.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that's going to just boost my ego and be like, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. Like, he's going to tell me, like, hey, get out of this defense. Like, we don't need to be running this.
Yeah.
Like, we did it the other night, playing Luther. I was like, He was like, I think we need to go zone right here. I'm like, nah, we don't need to go zone right here. He was like, no, let's go zone right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we could have
We
these
can-
talks
yeah.
because he's not a yes man, and I don't want a yes man. I tell, my coaches all the time, like be blunt with me.
Yeah.
Like, let me know, because I watch film all the time, man, and I'm like, God, man, I wish I would have did this differently. I wish I would have did that. So he knows, man. He's like, get on me.
And the thing is you have to be able to take the truth, because a lot of people hate it. Like, I mean, think about it. If someone was telling, like he said, if someone was saying yes, 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 yes all the time, then you're not growing as a coach. You're not growing as a person, because then when it comes to a time when it's really time for you to make a decision, and then it backfires on you, like, well, dang, I mean, was he really being honest with
Or
me?
if it's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
That's what kids
Yeah.
hear. It's always the coach's fault.
coach's
it's
fault.
always another player's fault.
Yeah.
And so now they're never hearing the truth. Let me go over here where I can maybe get another opportunity.
Yeah.
And then I'm dealing with the same issues here. Maybe I'm the problem.
I'm the
Maybe I'm
problem.
the issue. So you got to look at it. If I'm going 3 different high schools in 4 years, or I'm going 2 different high schools and something's not getting changed, or 3 different colleges looking for a better solution, I mean, I'm not trying to
After the first
disrespect
one.
nobody, but
Yeah.
After the first one, like, because back in my day, man, there was no such thing as you just transfer.
Yeah,
like,
that
you had to
thing
move.
is,
You had to move.
My mom would have never thought, I'm going to pack my stuff up because you ain't playing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, this ain't like, son, we live here for a reason. It ain't got nothing to do with your
Yeah.
basketball.
Basketball
that ain't paid
that's
no
an
bills.
elective.
That ain't paid no bills in this house.
You getting a grade on that,
That's
son.
an elective.
You getting a
Man,
grade in
listen,
basketball.
I'm telling
Don't
you,
even get
bro.
me started.
but that's the
We'll
thing.
have another one. We'll talk about
Oh
it.
man, hey man, I'm telling you. I'm
But
telling you.
man, all I can say is, like, I was just telling a buddy of mine, man. For us, young men, black men at that, to be the positive change for the culture and the future of our athletes and students and kids, man, I applaud you guys for everything y'all do, man.
No,
I appreciate
man,
it.
It's a blessing to see, fellow fellas getting it in, also doing what I love to do.
Oh, yeah.
Being passionate about it, all about the kids, having success. Great job on y'all season so far.
Likewise.
But I appreciate you guys, man. Your fellowship, your brotherhood.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely chop it up when we can. We got a little group message now.
Oh
We
yeah.
joke around.
Oh now it's
now.
a wrap.
Yeah,
It's a wrap.
Hey, but let me say this, and I'll be done.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've had a lot of people switch up over the years. A lot of people switch up, and these 2 gentlemen next to me have been loyal, have been genuine since day one. So I appreciate you guys.
That's love,
Hey,
bro.
same.
That's love. Good
I mean, I used to coach this guy.
Yeah.
And he
yeah.
he ran away from practice and hopped the fence when we was outside at Highland East
Oh.
in the field. But that's the same thing. Like these 2 guys that I'm sitting here with, man, they are genuine about what their passion and what they love. It's exciting to see, because I'm 38, so I'm a lot older, but I feel young because I stay with the times that these guys keep me going. There's a lot of 38-year-olds that be just like, well, I'm out. I ain't got time for this. But you guys keep me going, which is good, because I'm still learning. I'm learning every day something about coaching. It's bigger than, us.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, man, people look at us in a way, we're role models.
No doubt.
We may not be. I mean, I think I'm handsome. I think my wife is very blessed to have me. But I'm just saying. But I
I'm
mean,
right there with you.
yeah. I mean, hey, you got to have confidence, fellas. But the thing is like we all mesh well because of the greater good that we're putting out in the world. We may not be, changing, big things, but we're making changes and impacting youth's lives.
Right.
And in this time and age, that's what people need.
Mm-hmm.
These are what these kids need. They need someone that's going to be honest with them and push them.
Yeah.
And if it and I'm not saying like not everybody's doing it, but the fact that I'm sitting here with two people that I know that's doing it, it's a blessing.
No doubt about it, man. And I think from me, just I've been coaching a long time, seen a lot of coaches change, whatever. But the fact that I've never felt like my head coach is like, let's coach for wins. We just want to coach for young men's success, and the win just comes with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And this is the reward we're getting. Like right now, your team and our team, like you guys, we want you to just be great basketball players, and the success that come with it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever results come, but we care about y'all.
Say it all the time, man. Just because just talking about playoffs and how we're going to be seeded and who will potentially run up against. I've been saying it since summer, man. Whatever's happening is going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can stress about it. I can, worry about it. But at the end of the day, it's out of my control. Worry about what you can. Whatever's happened is going to happen. Right. And so finish out the year strong.
Yeah.
Praying everybody stays healthy. And then we just go from there.
Yeah, I'm a promise to after season we're gonna get back together and talk about it.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we both make a run at it.
Absolutely.
Maybe both of us
That's
win.
the goal,
Get some
man.
rings,
That'd be
man.
the stuff, man.
Let's get some rings.
Put it out there in the atmosphere. It'll happen.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks for showing up. Mike showing up late. Appreciate you.
Hey man, you know me. Casually
He
late.
been late a long time. I want BC
He
showed
wouldn't
up
be
early.
Mike
Rock.
if it wouldn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be Mike see if it ain't. But y'all want to talk about or shout out your social handles, you're more than welcome.
Hey, you can follow me on Instagram at just need one mic, and then on Twitter at Coach MC33 on Twitter, man. Just follow me, and I post random crazy stuff. So
And I'm nobody important, so you ain't got to follow me. But I will say, shout out to those Lady Eagles. Shout
hey
out
man,
to the girls.
those NELES stompers, man. I'm
Absolutely.
telling you, y'all
Absolutely.
don't know about it, but man, those girls they got a spot on, man. They got a
got
spot
some
in my
hood
heart.
in them.
They got some hood in them, man.
Hey, they got
Hey,
some hood.
man,
Oh,
we
hey.
coming to a gym to stomp on you.
Hey, look, I'm Mustang Bronco. Hopefully y'all in our tournament next year. We should make that happen.
Hey,
Christmas tournament.
you know what? We respectfully will just send us the information and we'll pray about it. You know, us Christians.
All right.
Hey, you better give that look like, I just saw who was in it this year. And, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll
If y'all
talk.
make a run at it, you know he's gonna come for you.
Hey,
I
man,
already know.
We'll talk.
We are open to discussion.
Well, all right, my dogs. Appreciate it. We're gonna get out of here. Tony Talks. We out of here.
All right.